Approval of agenda, approval of minutes from previous meeting. Have everybody been able to review the minutes? I was trying to open Zoom. I got Zoom open in the background somewhere. Oh, it's not. I'm getting assistance from a young person.
We can still see you, even though you can't see us. Yeah.
No.
That's why I'm over here. So,
what?
yeah,
Here?
minimize. Push,
Minimize.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're over here.
You can just grab from the header and just scoot this over.
Scoot them over.
And then
That's all I need is this piece, I guess.
Oh.
Oh,
Bring the percentage up.
okay.
Does it let you pull? Oh yeah, it does. There we go.
Oh, okay.
You good?
Thank you. It's nice to have young people in the, I do apologize. It's nice to have young people in your house.
Nice.
Colin's age. Okay, so approval of the agenda. But meeting the call. So on the call is myself, Sandra Collins, Annalia.
If you're here, just say present so we can get it on record.
Oh, okay. Annalia Wade Lehman.
Present.
Colin Barber.
Present.
Wanda Gilbert. Not on video. Don't I have to say that?
Yeah, we'll make mention that she's on audio.
On
but
audio
if she could say present, yeah.
Wanda?
Wanda Gilbert Coker, present.
Demetrius, what's your last name?
It's Edwards, but you don't have to do everybody. You can just do
I just have to do the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Chalisa Williams, audio only? Nope, that's not.
He's not on yet.
So Chalisa is not on yet.
No, she's not on yet.
Okay, all righty. So we can move forward. Oh, who's taking minutes before we start? Okay, Annalia is taking minutes. Thank you. Have everybody reviewed the agenda? Approval of September agenda? Do I have the wrong agenda?
Those were the last month's minutes.
Yeah, so you just approved the October agenda as presented and then approval of the September meeting minutes.
Okay. All right.
And I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for September. Not trying to rush it if anyone wants to read over it.
Yep, do rush it.
Is there a second?
I've got the wrong.
I don't think I can second because I wrote them, right?
You can.
Oh, okay. I second the motion.
And so you'll do all in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye. I don't have the right agenda.
Yeah, aye.
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 All right, and then you'll say any opposed?
Any opposed?
All right.
Okay. And Marquita, I do not, the agenda I had was the wrong one.
Okay.
So,
I'll forward it to you, but it's the exact same agenda as September. The only difference is under your New business is just your annual retreat, but everything else is the exact same. It's the standard format for your meetings. So you can actually follow the September if you want to.
Never change. Well, of course, I closed it out. Maybe I should not be in this meeting. This is a sign. Okay. Approval of the minutes for September. Have you guys had a chance to review it?
So y'all just approved the minutes for September?
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought we approved the agenda.
yeah, no. You approved the minutes. So if you call for approval for the agenda, you can do that really quickly. And then you can go to your chairman's report. Would be next.
I'm sorry, I am really struggling with my computer today. I do apologize. So there's no, where is our city council person?
I'm not sure. It's on his agenda. They all have it. So maybe he can't attend right now.
Okay. All right, chairperson report. Our budget review. I found out some exciting news about our budget. We have way more money to spend than we initially thought. Marquita, would you share that with us, please?
Okay, sure. So the board we were able to identify the correct amount for your reserve account. So in reserves, you all have $65,000. In addition to council allocates $10,000 annually to the board, okay? But the caveat, the thing with the $65,000 is that you'll use half this fiscal year. So meaning half of that 65 needs to be used by June of next year of 2021. And then the other half of that 65,000, you'll use it the following fiscal year. So you'll have until June 2022 to use that funding. So that's the thing. It's exciting because it's a whole lot more than what we anticipated that you have in reserve. So you have 65,000 to use over the next 2 years, in addition to your 10,000 that you receive from council.
So with that being said, guys, we really need to get on the ball and determine and agree upon how we're going to utilize these funds that we must spend between now and the end of the fiscal year. We spoke last month about finding a way to get some items out to the community. Winter is upon us, and we were thinking about possibly whether they're fire extinguishers, batteries, CO2 detectors, things that that can be approved for us to distribute to the community, finding a way to actually distribute it to the community that's safe. And Wanda, I know you're on the ground a lot, and you may really have a lot of information about the needs that we may be able to provide services. For people, whether they're in apartments or renting houses, and also want to make sure that we include people that are in shelters.
Sandra, if I could chime in, if you guys will consider partnering with an agency like Green Chair. Right now, we're serving about 33 to 40 families a week that are transitioning from hotels into homes. So if we needed to leverage that infrastructure, I could see about with my director and see if she has an interest in helping us, distribute these items. Because we already go to deliver furniture to all these families. So that could be a consideration or an idea if you guys want to do it that way.
Well, that's one way. Any other input out there?
Don't the families have to pay for the furniture at Green Tree?
Not through the House Wake program. We got funding through Wake County for those. And so through the CARES Act, so those families do not pay anything.
Okay, so there's no fee like before, right?
No. Well, we do still do virtual families for some families that don't qualify, but I would say 80% of the referrals we're serving and the families we're serving right now will be House Wake families. And we could limit this to House Wake families that don't pay. So, I mean, that would be very easy for us to do. But it's just an idea.
No, that's what this is all about. So everybody has input and ideas and suggestions. That's a pretty good size budget that that we have to use. So
Well, if I would think of a tool a resource that people need, whether in the winter, spring, hurricanes, or whenever, or flashlights. That's something that's needed. Something.
batteries, I had that down, Wanda.
Yeah, but I mean, you can also get the flashlights where they don't need the batteries, because that's another expense. So if it's one of those that last a certain amount of time, I forgot what they're called. But yeah, where the battery stays in there and it lasts for a certain, I don't remember the name of the battery, but type of flashlight. But yeah, those types of flashlights.
Fire extinguishers, we were thinking.
Well, homeless shelter, people in homeless shelter wouldn't need fire extinguishers.
No, Wanda, they wouldn't, but we're just talking about addressing both sides of the spectrum. So people that's in shelters, as far as we're concerned, they may need
About
scarves.
blankets, maybe blankets for people in shelters, blankets or jackets, things like that.
Find out from the shelters, like maybe some of the needs.
I think because of COVID-19, something like I said, a flashlight or some type of tool or resource that can be used throughout the year, and also that does not spread COVID. Other than a resource kit like yeah.
Like emergency kits or something?
Oh, yeah, how about
Yeah, like
safety,
first
like a
aid
safety,
kits.
first aid kits? Yeah, first
Yeah.
aid kits are always good for emergencies.
Yeah, like
Would PPE be good? Is that, would you want to add that?
Yeah, masks,
yeah,
right?
we do PPE now, but yeah, something like that can be used year round, and doesn't spread COVID, I think, are good ideas.
Yeah, I'll go through a list and call up a bunch of organizations that work specifically with the homeless and see if they have any suggestions on items that they would need. And would we be able to buy these items directly from any source and then provide it to these institutions, Marquita, or are there some hoops we need to jump through for acquiring items?
Yeah, no, that's fine. As long as you get the information to me as regarding how to purchase it, then that shouldn't be a problem.
I would like to interject. This is Wanda Gilbert Coker audio. We just got through telling a list of things needed because we are on the ground and work with people. Why would you need to call agencies and ask them the same thing we just said?
Because that gives us more information too. I mean, why are you against collecting more information? I guess that would be the question.
I mean, because we're here. I mean, our information it should be the information that's used first of all, and respected as our information, because we're on the ground. If you were on the ground, maybe you wouldn't have to call these people. We're on the ground. We know what they need.
So, okay, cool. So flashlights, PPE, that's it? That's all we're buying? Is that what you were
No, we
suggesting?
said PPE, flashlights, mask, which is part of PPE, but we also said first aid kits or safety kits. We said that. That's a lot.
So $30,000 in a year on that.
Okay,
Also-
okay, we're gonna bring it back to
You know,
order. We're gonna bring it back. So just moving forward, because we need to follow like Robert's rules and just acts of decorum. So we'll address the chair when you're making your comments, so not to each other, because we're all on the same team here. So flashlights, you said batteries, smoke detectors, CO2, carbon monoxide, but I can't say that word, fire extinguishers, blankets, jackets,
And
first aid kits, PPE. And so I guess these are all great suggestions. And so my question, I guess, to Madam Chair and the rest of the board is next steps. So do you want to maybe have because this is you can add more to the list. And so how do you all want to move forward with getting this, pulling the items and figure out what you want to include into these care packages or these kits?
Well, this just wanted to give a Coca audio. I think we need to decide how many we're giving out, and then look at the expense of how many we're giving out of each. PPEs and flashlights, we know are needed in all households, homeless shelters, everywhere. So if we look at that expense and the type of mask we're giving out, or we're giving out just disposable masks, or we're giving out N95 masks, or we're giving out masks that with our name on it. If we look at those type of things, I mean, if we're looking at 3,000 households, that can be a lot. So I think if we look at those items alone, to determine the price of those, and we'll know how many, we can afford to give out, and how they can be distributed.
Sandra, I can volunteer because I do have a lot of distributors that I work with. I can volunteer to get some pricing for us in some of these items so that we can assess which ones we want to purchase. Would that help?
That would help, because
Okay.
that's the type of information we would have to present and give
Okay.
to Marquita and Deja.
Okay, so I'll work on collecting that information and maybe send the board an email with the list, and then we can make a decision at that point of which ones we want to purchase.
Could I make a
And we
suggestion?
have to determine a safe way for distribution. I mean, as far as the shelters, that's probably pretty easy to do, because they would actually receive everything from us, and they would handle the distribution as needed. But when we talk about touching the community, say for example, fire extinguishers, for example, maybe it's a way to, first of all, we need to find out what household needs what. For apartment complex, I'm under the understanding that and make sure that all apartments or houses or whatever that's associated with what I want to say, people that's receiving financial assistance, for the like where Chalisa used to work, for example. She said the fire marshal came in every year and went through every apartment, so they kind of know what's needed, because I know fire extinguishers are good for like 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So someone may or may not need that. We don't want to just give out things that people don't need. And it would be nice to know, in general, we know that everybody can use PPE. Everybody can probably use some of the things that we're talking about, whether it's flashlights, flashlights, batteries, etc.
Band-Aids, Band-Aids, all the safety stuff, everybody needs that.
Yeah, so we can order the whole, first aid kits, for example. But when it comes to, it's winter, for me, it's the bottom line is that it's winter. So it won't be long before we start hearing about fires and things like that. If it was a way for us to even get the fire marshal even involved, to kind of partner with, whether they, show people how to use some of these items. When we have fire detectors and things, even if the ones that's plugged into your outlets, they require batteries, because when the batteries go, they beep, and sometimes people think just because they plugged in that, it doesn't require batteries or whatever. So some type of, if we can find a way to like make this a partnership for some of the things to educate people, and also, provide some of these services, I think would be good. We'll have to figure out how to do it. There's a new fire chief, so maybe they'd be willing to kind of partner and work with us. But again, the money that we have has to last between up all the way until what, Marquita?
2022, no?
No, well, the monies that we're having to utilize.
Yeah, the first half will be 2021, the first half, and then
Yeah.
the second half needs to be
Yeah.
used. One quick question, do we still have those bags that we had given out at the last conference? Do we have any of those fair housing bags?
You have a few, probably
Okay.
less than 100. It's not a lot, so you will need to order more.
Yeah, because we would want to brand it some way so that people know where this is coming from.
It would be required that we brand it. It would be required that we put fair housing literature
Yeah.
in it. And that's a requirement in order for us to even to give away anything. So,
Could I make a suggestion?
yes, Jack.
A small item, but has the board thought about possibly using a little bit of the money maybe for some fair housing ads? Facebook or any of the newspapers or radio stations. I don't think that would cost much, and that would certainly promote fair housing in the community, would certainly be in line with the goals of the board.
This is Wanda Gilbert Coker Audio. Every month and almost every weekend, there is some agency handing out food. We could also put those, partner with them, attend the event, put the items in the boxes, or give them to each car. What cars do they pull up, open the trunk, pop it if they can. If not, we open it and we put the food in there, and we could also put the items in there at that time. And it's also contactless to prevent COVID. Another thing regarding what Jeff said, I think that's a great idea, but also could some of the money be used for us to pay for speakers to do virtual webinars, not necessarily for people to attend, but where they have to go and log on, but where someone can be recorded and teach on a certain subject, and maybe it be put on YouTube or Facebook. And from there, there's a telephone number. It's really like an advertisement marketing tool as well. And there's a telephone number for them to call in and get more information, or the website for them to go and get more information on what the person just taught on.
Well, all of those are good ideas. We'll just add that to the list. Is it my understanding that there is a that the telephone number that if people went on the website to look for a phone number to call in if they need help, is it my understanding that that telephone number is incorrect? Marquita?
No, it's correct on our website.
It is
What
correct?
Talisa was referring to is when we switched departments last year, our number changed,
Mhm.
but it's correct. It's been
Oh,
correct
okay.
all year. Mhm.
Any other, these are great suggestions.
I haven't, this is Wanda Gilbert Coker. I have another suggestion. We could also do like magnets that could, or some type of something, a calendar, since the new year is coming, or something that has the fair housing information on it. Also other resources in the community that they could call, or 911 with other like I said, resources that are needed, like Wake County Housing and other numbers, legal aid number and all of that on the calendar, maybe something for each month, or just a little one that will go in your pocket, a pocket calendar, or one that will stick to refrigerator. So I know those things are helpful for, you know, whether you're on the go or homeless, or you know, living somewhere. Is something that's easily, that can be easily transferred.
And if I may add to that, I think that's a great idea, Wanda. And it made me think about the efforts at the Substance Use Advisory Commission. They're wanting to create some type of package and resources to give out to the community. And so when you think about housing insecurity and just the stress of COVID and housing, and how mental health and substance use ties into that, you know, the rates are increasing. So definitely this is a great opportunity for the board and the Substance Use Advisory Commission to partner to get those resources out for mental health and substance use. And we can maybe package them together.
Yeah, that would be great.
You know, that's interesting. You know, when you hand out things to people and people have paper all over the place, I often wonder, even for myself, you go to places and someone hands you out something and it's like the format that you're receiving in has a lot to do with if you retain it, if you keep it. So to have information to be able to be distributed on something that people is easy accessible and they don't have to keep up with a piece of paper, that's a great idea. Like I say, whether it's a magnet, whether it's whatever it is, that people can always get to right away. Again, I like the calendar idea.
Yeah, Wanda Gilbert Coker.
To produce, but
Yeah, I wanted to give it Coca audio again. I know in many of the shelters, they even have like the little locker. So, you know, it could stick to a locker or inside a locker, that information, if it's a magnet. But also, you know, there are appointments that many have to keep up with, where they're going next, or other resources in the community, even if it's a little, the pocket kind, like with little leather or plastic case, and you open it up and it has the resources and numbers in it, or on the outside. So I think that'd be a great resource or tool for families or people staying in hotels or in transition, or you know, more secure. So are we going to call around? I mean, are we going to decide on certain ones, or we're just going to get a price list of all those different things? Oh,
Sandra.
oh,
think we have some really great ideas. Looking at cost factors, I think if we get it, first of all, we have to determine cost factor. And so we have to determine which of these ideas we think would be more useful at the moment. And I like the calendar idea. I am still concerned that it is wintertime, so I do want to address that also. But from here, we have to figure out costs. Like Analia agreed to check with her distributors on some of these items. If we're talking about magnets to go on a refrigerator, first of all, and then determine what resources you want to put on that for people to contact immediately. If you do the calendars with, whether it's pocket calendars with a place where people can put appointments or write in. So we do have to look at cost factors. And then we need to decide how much we want to spend in what period of time. Marquita, so the funds that we're saying that we have to use, by that ends in 2021. Do we want to spend so much of it now, guys, or do we want to just utilize it all? I mean, it's the end of the year, because do we need to save some of it for the conference piece? Whether the conference, I don't know what that's going to look like, but what is it that we're wanting to do as a whole?
I think we also need to have a distribution plan set up before we really commit to buying anything. Being able to just move any of this around and having a plan, even if it is as simple as we order it, it comes to the city's offices and we just load it up in vans and take it somewhere. But I mean, I think we should at least know where, before we buy anything, how much all of it's going to cost, who is it going to, how are we getting it there, are we delivering this at a certain time. I think we should have a full fleshed out plan before we go and spend a lot.
Well, I don't disagree, and I think that's definitely something that we all know, especially during these times. Like I say, if we get an idea what stuff costs, the easiest distribution is going to be to the shelters. And I've been doing quite a few giveaways with Reverend Brickle, and they've all been cars driving up. We've done school giveaway backpack. We've done food drives. It's a lot of those things that are going on. People just kind of pull up, they pop their trunk, like they say. I believe that everyone is distributing things or giving or helping people the same way. I don't think there's a lot of options out there as to how you do it. It's going to have to be advertised that, Fair Housing Board is distributing whatever it is that we're giving away, promote it at a time and place, and whether we collaborate, which would be nice. It would be nice if someone else was also doing something at the same time, like some of these food drives or whatever, to partner with someone else that's having something, because it is always something going on. It is always something going on.
This is Wanda Gilbert Coker, audio. We could partner with Marketing with the Twist, Lisa Green, her organization. They give out food drives, and they also have partnerships where you can advertise who the person, it can be the Fair Housing Hearing Board, Substance Abuse, whatever other organizations. And basically what they do when they're making up the boxes, we put our items in it, and we can be out there and help pass those items out. through their organization. And I mean, like the one they did at Southeast Raleigh Promise, there was over 400 people who attended. So that's a way we can just decide, you know, which location this is in. Generally, they're in Southeast Raleigh, or partner with a place where there's enough of room for people to come in and pull out, where we're not holding up traffic. And I'm sure she's willing. I mean, she's partnered with fraternities, sororities, churches, many others. So I know that's a quick way, easy way, other than us attending there and helping to do that, which I've done before. You know, easily get them out without, and it's you know, we don't have to come in contact with people. It's still a safe way.
Wanda, yes, and like I say, I think that once we determine what it is that we want to give away, or the distribution of it, we probably can be easily done through a partnership with someone.
Right. Yeah. I don't think
Or
distribution
another
is
group.
a
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
Not here in Southeast Raleigh anyway.
So Madam Chair, may I make a suggestion just to kind of keep the conversation moving? Possibly because maybe one or two individuals take the lead on, because when I'm hearing like you need to get a cost estimate, right? A budget together about approximately how much each item will cost. And then from there, you can decide how much of your 4,250 you want to allocate towards that. And it would be helpful if one or two people take the lead on even like partnerships, logistics, distribution. Like what does that look? Because you do need a detailed plan before you hit the community. So what partners can you partner with? And those one or two individuals will take the lead on connecting with those partners, you know, like what that will look like. So and then you can leave the meeting knowing who's going to do what, you know, before. So yeah, minimize some of this discussion at the next meeting. And then also later on, we're going to talk about your retreat. So you go a little bit deeper in the rest of your funding.
Okay. All right. So
Deja has her hand up.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Deja. You're on mute.
I couldn't find the raise hand function, so I apologize. Just want to piggyback off of what Marquita said. When you guys start thinking about how you want to spend your funds, I would just put out there maybe also creating a timetable of the months, because we do within our office have to have like certain restrictions, because we do have support other boards as far as like our cards to purchase things and like PeopleSoft and doing requisitions. There's logistics behind that. And so I don't just want it to happen where you say November, we're going to spend 15,000. And then there's some stuff that we need to do beforehand before we could do that. I'm not saying we can't, I'm just saying that there's protocol that we have to abide by as city employees as well. So maybe that someone could communicate with Marquita about a timetable of the months, weeks or whatever, how you guys want to spend the money. So I just want to think about that as well when you guys are writing this out.
She's saying plan it out.
There seems to be a lot of parts and pieces.
Wanda Gilbert Coker audio again. I think because we are leading up to the holidays, there's going to be lot more opportunities than just non-holidays. So maybe we can, I know Salvation Army, they're going to do the coat drive again. All the coats going to be cleaned and everything before due to COVID, but Helping Hand is also going to be giving out their groceries every Thanksgiving and Christmas like they normally are. I mean, there are sometimes we would have to attend the event and have a face and, put the energy into it. And then there'll be some opportunities where we could just give the merchandise to whoever's holding the event and pass it along with whatever they're holding. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity. Well, I know there's a lot of opportunity in Southeast Raleigh to distribute any items that you want to get rid of. I mean, for instance, if the items were already ready for the elections, there are nonpartisan opportunities going on now that have nothing to do with either party, but we're giving out PPE out there. So Yeah, getting rid of it, I don't see as a issue. Just deciding on
Okay.
what it is.
Okay, Wanda, do me a favor so we're gonna move forward. Could you, you seem to be more connected to upcoming events. If you can give us a timetable
Mm-hmm.
of some things that's coming up, and then from there, Annalee is gonna get some dollars and some numbers for us. And then we can determine, and from there, apparently I need to find out how long does it take for Marquita and or Deja to process. There seems to be a lot of so there is a timetable. So if they need 3 weeks, if you say there's something December 1st, and we know it's going to take X amount of period for the paperwork to get approved, processed, et cetera, then we need to coordinate all of that. So if you can find out between now and, the first quarter, like things that's going on,
Mm-hmm.
that we can partner with. And then, Deja, if you can kind of let us know, like the process, that piece, how long does it normally take? To get something through for approval? Because, well, I'm assuming that whatever we do, we'll probably do bulk. So it's not something that we'll be having to go back and forth with you on as far as, ordering this and ordering that, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah, because again, Wanda Gilbert Coker Audio. If it's something Thanksgiving, I already know 2 events that'll be in plan for the holidays. So, and one of them is the food giveaway. So, and the Helping Hand, of course, is going to give out theirs. But,
okay.
if it can be done before Thanksgiving, or if we can get some timeline, I don't want to start looking at November 1st stuff and knowing it won't be here till the 15th. But, if I can get a timeline about how long it'll take to get here, yeah, I can line up and find out about partnering with those different organizations that's already out there working in the community.
And I think it's important that the Fair Housing Board, that there's marketing, whoever we partner with and wherever we donate these items to, that, that is recognized in the community, or just, as one of the community outreach items that we can check off for the Fair Housing Board.
Yeah, like Wanda Gilbert Coca Audio. Like I said, if we want to partner with giving out food, I can get with Lisa if we have a date, or because she has different other orgs that she set up with. But if we know we want to do that when they're doing the food share and it's contactless, we can be there with our signs, also literature and giving out that information. We could also set up a resource table in another part if people, wanted to have to get out the car or have a telephone number to call. I mean, there are many ways we could do it, but she advertises. I mean, I post a lot of her stuff on social media anyway when she's giving out doing the food drive. So I think that'll be a great opportunity to get out there.
Well, one of the first things that we're going to determine, and I don't know if it'll happen now, we need to determine the amount of money we want to spend in what period of time. And then when we determine that, then we can then determine, okay, we're going to spend, I'm making this up, we're going to spend $10,000 between now and the end of the year, for example. What does that look like? And so once we decide what it is that we're going to purchase, how much we want to spend out of our budget, and then once we know that we can order and have these items, and we know when we can, because also, guys, we got to get together and put this stuff together. So once we receive our items that we agree upon, and then we have it in hand, at that point, then we can connect with whoever has something that's coming up. Go ahead, Marquita.
Okay. And so just looking at like the dates. So if you're looking at doing something around Thanksgiving, I would suggest maybe you all make a motion now to use some of the money, because if you start to buy stuff sooner rather than later, we're going to need a vote before we can actually start spending any of your money. So maybe you want to say we want to allocate 5, because I want you need to vote before you have your next meeting if you want to, because by the time you have your next meeting, you're pushing up on Thanksgiving. So stuff should already be ordered and being put together or whatnot. So I would recommend you all make a motion and vote on a amount now. You can always amend it, later on.
I was about to say, do I have to say an amount?
Yeah, or you can say no more than or up to,
Okay.
like, like you said, the 10,000. I doubt y'all spend 10,000 between now and next, you won't, but you can put up to 10,000 or something like that to kind of give you some wiggle room.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move a motion that we allocate up to no more than $10,000 for 2020 to provide for services for the community.
I
I
second that.
second motion.
You go. All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All not in favor? Do I have to say who all was in favor?
Well, they could say it by saying aye. Annalia didn't say anything. Wanda?
Sandra? All in favor?
And I said aye.
Sorry, I'm
Okay.
I'm typing, guys.
Oh, yeah. And then you say all opposed?
And
I don't think anybody opposed.
all opposed? Now, I just want to, it's the new rules. Deja said that if we vote upon something that, do we have to say our name, Deja, and then that we're agreeing?
Because Ms. Wanda is connected via audio, technically you guys need to say your name by a roll call. If you guys were all on video, you can just say aye, raise your hand. And then Ms. Wanda, when you vote, you have to state your name. I'm connected via audio, and then state how you would like to carry your vote.
Wanda
So,
Gilbert
Annalie,
Coker, aye. Audio.
Colin Bover votes aye.
I approve it too, Analia.
Sandra Collins, I approve.
Perfect.
Okay. I think there's some action items out there. Action items for Wanda, action items for Analia and myself. And again, and even Colin, the suggestion that you had as far as getting certain things to some of the shelters, because I know for a fact that a lot of these shelters, like the South Wilmington Street shelter, they seem to be the one that that's always like the first one that most people think about. So I know they receive a lot of things, so they may not, different shelters may actually need the people that they're servicing. So Colin, feel free to find out, what it is that some of the shelters, some of the things they may need. They may have a lot of PPE things already, because it's so many organizations that's giving these things away. But what is it? Do they need blankets? Do they need socks? Do they need gloves? Do they need, what is it that people will need that's coming into their shelters? And on the other side, we'll look into, like we were saying, the first aid kits, the calendars, things is a great idea. I think we have some great ideas, whatever we come up with, whatever we determine, whatever we decide to do, we know it will be of a service and that it will help. The webinar piece, the put information out there and people, and that's a great idea, Wanda, where people can go and, look at it at their own time and it's not a set time. So I don't know how that would look. That might be a Jack may be able to answer that. Something to consider. What type of information?
Are you asking me to comment, Sandra?
Yes, I am. Like, what?
So certainly you could have, and Legal Aid has done this on other topics, you could have already canned video recorded sections that are short, like 5-10 minutes on different areas of fair housing that you could have on your website. You can, if you have a budget and you have money to spend, you could have maybe national folks rather than local folks do that and pay them an honorarium, folks who are maybe nationally known or, even folks in North Carolina, people that you might provide an honorarium to. But you can certainly have very short webinar trainings that could be accessed. Does the board already have a place on Raleigh's website, or is there a section or some place where people could go? That's the Raleigh Fair Housing Hearing Board.
Yeah, so say we have a website, and also we can definitely utilize our new Office of Equity and Inclusion site, and maybe we can create like a new arm of the web page where it's like, because we have a resource section, but maybe like something that before it stands out, like where you have these little, I like the idea of the imagery or like the short pre-recorded videos.
Mm-hmm.
So housing it there. So we can definitely play around with that. We have options.
Yeah, and they could be, like I said, they could be on discrete specific topics, sex harassment, or tenants with criminal histories, or LGBTQ discrimination, or things that are short and that might be more accessible. You could also, if you want to spend money, you could also do kind of a it's not a cartoon, but you could do an animated without somebody talking, a short little presentation. That, a lot of fair housing organizations have done that nationally. They're very easy to watch. It's not just a talking head, but you have moving figures as a background voice is in lay terms describing people's rights. That could cost easily $5,000. I have no idea. I know the Fair Housing Project has done that. And so I know that we've worked with organizations to put those together. In terms of the conference, you might decide that you want to pay an honorarium for a national figure to speak. We've been trying to save money in past conferences. And we've had mostly local people. But if you have money burning a hole in your pocket and you want to bring in more bigger name speakers, thinking that maybe that would attract an audience for your fair housing conference, you can do that as well. And we'd be happy to work with the board on trying to figure out who those people were.
Thank you. That's definitely worth considering. I think that's a great idea. And you used the word canned. I hadn't heard that in a while, but I guess that's what it's called if we create an area. And that's something that we can promote, let people know that this information is out there based on their questions and what their needs. The fact that we didn't have our conference, all of those topics, have not been addressed and a whole year gone by. So maybe this is a way to still address those topics. We don't have to come up with something new.
On any and all of those, we're happy to work with the board.
Thank you, as usual. Okay. Where are we?
Looks like the staff liaison report.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for. I'm sorry, Marquita, I am looking for this stuff.
Okay, no, you're fine. I got you back. So what's up next? Do you have anything else for your chairperson report?
I don't have anything else. I think the discussion we had just now was, went very well. We have a lot to do regarding it, and hopefully between now and our next meeting, we'll have some numbers. Are we able to, as we do our action items, are we able to discuss any of these things prior to the next meeting, or that's not allowed?
You mean like through email chat? That's fine. As people get information and you share it to the group, you just will not be able to vote via email.
Okay.
So that function is, you won't be able to do that now in the virtual meeting space.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if Annalee and I come up with numbers or whatever it is that Wanda's working on, we're able to communicate via email.
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Before we run out of time, one of the other things that I know that was on the agenda that's not in front of me was the retreat. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but my thought was this: we met in the last retreat that we had. We did not take action on anything that was thrown on the board. So I would suggest that we go back and look at the things that we discussed at the last retreat and play off of it. I'm pretty sure that Marquita has all of the minutes or notes from that retreat. I think we should review it and see if it still aligns with our mission. I'm sure it does. And see how we can just use that to move forward. And how do we move forward, during COVID? One of the reasons why we haven't been active or haven't done anything is because of COVID, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. So now we need to think outside the box as to how we're going to do some things.
Can I make a suggestion? Again, I apologize. So the Fair Housing Project, we've had the exact same problems that you all have. Prior to the pandemic, all of our work, our community education work, was in person. We had meetings, we had trainings, everything. We had to shift to an online presence, which can be difficult, but with some technical support, we've switched to having trainings, meetings, fundraisers, whatever, in a web format. Like the two that we did with you all, a month or two ago. And we just figured that, for the interim, that's just how we're going to have to connect up with people. and it's unfortunate and it's not as satisfying as in person, but we needed to keep the presence going. People needed to see us. We needed to be seen as relevant, and people needed to see us being out there. And I think that that's probably the same with you all. You want to be seen as relevant. You want people to see you as doing things. If you can't be meeting them at a street fair, you want to be having a video presence that people can plug into. Not everybody has web access, and I know that disproportionately low-income folks don't. But to the extent that people can get on the web, that is one of the easier tools that you have to keep your presence in the community, other than these ads that I suggested.
Wanda Gilbert Coca Audio. One of the ways we could reach people as well, once those things are done on the web or put on, the City of Raleigh page, they can also be shared on these various social media pages. And we can also share it on partners pages as well. And YouTube, where though you may not have access to the internet at certain periods of time, depending on minutes or whatever, but usually like with a Facebook app or YouTube app, if you have the app, you may have capabilities of looking at those things. So if we look at all those different resources to put that work, I think we could reach a lot more people.
And I would say most definitely with that, we can utilize, we have social media outlets and resources. So we can definitely utilize that. And then other partner organizations they can help promote and, share the information that you all create and put out there via their social media accounts and YouTube and all of that. So we can definitely support you in that.
So are we required to have an actual retreat scheduled date? Dr. Caesar, is she still involved in?
Absolutely. She's involved, but she's busy. She's been pulled a lot of different places, so she can't attend all the meetings. However, you all will need to schedule a retreat time and date. It'll be virtual, but yeah, you'll need to schedule that.
Do you know what the deadline time of when we would have to schedule?
Preferably in November, but definitely have to be this year.
Okay. Okay. I guess the final thing I know we have to do is get in front of City Council.
Yes. Yeah, so that was going to be part of the staff liaison report, which is that now it seems like it's a really opportune time for the Fair Housing Hearing Board to go before council to say, okay, this is what we're hearing on the ground. This is what we're seeing. Like some of the questions that came out of the Fair Housing webinars are very relevant, right? Some of the things that you all say during these conversations or these meetings are very relevant for council to hear, because that's why you're on the board, is to share with them, this is what we're hearing. And then also pushing for, or not pushing, but strongly encouraging the council to look at fair housing enforcement, right? Because we have said that that's been specifically for our Office of Equity and Inclusion, is a priority to have a fair housing unit. In order to do that, we have to get council's backing. We have to look at redo the fair housing ordinance, or update it rather, and then fair housing testing. And so one thing that's in your favor, in addition to what you all are hearing and seeing and experiencing on the ground, you have the analysis of impediment that just came out recently that says, once again, that we need fair housing enforcement powers in Raleigh. And you have the upcoming, the talk about affordable housing in the housing bond, right? So affordable housing and fair housing should go hand in hand. So if we're talking about putting more affordable housing out there, then we need a mechanism in Raleigh for enforcement. And really, it's best coming from the board, because you are the community members, right? And so council puts you in this seat for a reason. So I want to encourage, sooner rather than later, hopefully this year, before council goes for their Christmas holiday, that the board can go in front of them. And of course, me, Dr. Caesar, staff, we can work with you on wording and whatnot. But I want to put that out there for the board because we would need you all to support it.
So are they meeting just one more time this year before they go out for the year?
I think it's twice. I can't remember if they meet in December, if it's once or twice in December. I'm thinking it's, but I could look it up. I know they have one more meeting. They have two. I don't want to lie. I'm gonna look it up and get it to you.
I would say to the board, if there's anything that you feel strongly about that you want to make sure that we address when we're in front of council, I guess we can all have conversation via email. Yes, Miss Deja.
I have the meeting calendar, Marquita,
Oh,
for
perfect.
council. So the next one, I'm gonna give you work sessions too, so I don't know which is which, but Wednesday, November 4th, because they're changing it because of election. And then Tuesday, November 10th, there's a work session at 4. Tuesday, November 17th is a work and city council session, 11:30 and 1 o'clock. And then Tuesday, December 1st is city council, 1 and 7 o'clock. So that's it for the 2020 year.
Also, just one meeting in December.
Yes, ma'am.
That's on the first.
Okay.
Okay.
So because we'll have to, it takes time to get on the agenda if we can. So if there's something, and I would suggest maybe the board making a motion that they are interested in, they want to go before council, and then I can come back with dates. Because it depends on, I'm not sure what date will be allowed to go before council. So, but if that's something that the board as a whole wants to move forward with, I can work on getting that on the agenda.
Well, I do. I recommend that the board vote on getting in front of council on their agenda for December the 1st, 2020.
There's a second.
Sorry, I second that.
Okay. And then we'll do the voting thing again. So all in favor, say your name and aye.
All in favor, Sandra Collins, aye.
Shalisa Williams, aye.
Colin
Analia,
Bowden,
aye. Analia, aye.
I have a question. Wanted to give a Coker audio. Before we go before them, will we get to see what we're going to take before them? We'll all be able to see that, correct?
Definitely,
Correct.
yes.
Okay. Deja.
I guess I'll wait till after you guys vote, and I'll just tell you guys there's a timeline as far as deadlines if you guys want to present before council.
Right. Did we finish the vote?
No,
Wanda
Wanda did
Gilbert
not vote.
Coker, aye.
Okay.
Anyone opposed? No.
Was there an item about the conference on the agenda?
Yes, there is yes, there is an item.
Just didn't want us to all hang up before I got a word in on that.
That's the last item we're to discuss.
And
But
one
Deja,
before,
did you said you had a timeline for something in front of you?
I'll let Marquita go, and then did you have your hand raised, Marquita?
I did, because we need to lock down a date before, because we only have a few minutes left, a date for your retreat.
And so that's what I was going to say, Marquita, if you don't mind. So if you're going to present, I'm assuming what's on the retreat, that annual work plan, is that what they're doing? No? Okay, I was going to say it. Okay, I was going to say there's a specific date, then maybe you should have the retreat before that date, but never mind then.
Yeah, this would be different.
And I'll let you finish your vote. And then
I'm sorry, so Marquita said we need to actually come up with a tentative date for the retreat?
Yeah, what date works for for most people? Would it be something around this time? Would it be during the day, in the evening? the weekend. I know people like their weekend, so
Well, we've always met on a Saturday. I mean, I know we're not meeting in person, but does that make a difference to anyone? Colin said no, doesn't matter. Chalisa, doesn't matter. Annalee, I know you're busy. Does a particular day works for you if we start to look at our calendar?
Saturday mornings are better for me.
Okay.
okay. Are there particular Saturdays in November, December that you all prefer? Or there's some dates that just do not work? Maybe we can narrow it down that way.
December 5th, so the first Saturday does not work with me.
Okay.
Put that in chat.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Colin? What did he say?
I put it in chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so December 5th won't work. So you have December the 12th.
And December the 12th won't work for me. I have a wedding.
Okay. Forgive me, I don't know what day Thanksgiving is.
Thanksgiving is the 26th.
Okay, it's not that weekend.
So we have to go the week prior to that, the Saturday with the 21st, November 21st work for anyone? Because guys, remember, one of the things that we're gonna try to do is actually work off of what we started at the last retreat. So hopefully we're not starting from ground zero.
Sandra, if we do the 21st, I can, but in the afternoon, anytime after 11, I can do it. We just have a big event in the skating in the morning.
Okay.
Does the 21st of November work for everyone else?
Wanda Gilbert Coker, audio. Yes, it does work.
Okay, thank you.
Lisa? It works. Okay. Can we just do a date and a time later? Well, it seems like the morning will not work, so.
Right, so
The date is sufficient right now, Marquita?
right, unless you all, I mean, do you know what, will a time, can you lock in a time? And we can go ahead and get it.
Annabelle, what time we're gonna work it around your schedule, of course. So what time are you settled and a good time to start?
Do you guys want to do it right after lunch? Would that work for everybody?
Is 1
Like 1
o'clock good?
o'clock?
Yes.
1 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm open for that whole day at the moment.
Okay, cool.
Open.
It works for me too.
Okay, the 21st at 1 o'clock then.
Okay. And on average, we're thinking about 3 hours. It'd probably be, it may be less than that, but I'll send you a calendar hold for 1 to 4 on the
Okay.
21st of November.
Perfect.
All right. That work for you, Wanda?
Invite Mr. Jack and Mr.
Yes, it
Jeff.
does.
Okay, thank you, Wanda. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, perfect. And we'll, at a later date, we'll go over what
Okay.
the agenda will look like. But thank you all. We got that locked in.
Okay. All righty. Before we go, the final thing is our conference.
Okay. Well, I think it's probably a safe bet that in April, we are going to still need to do a video conference as opposed to an in-person conference. I'd like to think that that was not so, but I think to be safe and not end up in the situation that we unfortunately had last time, I think it's best to prepare for this being an online conference rather than in person. The upside of that is, one, it's a lot less expensive. Two, it gives you as a board more options in terms of speakers. Jeff and I spoke prior to today, and initially we would propose or suggest for you guys to think over, and it doesn't have to be decided today, that we do the same workshop topics that we had planned to do last time but could not. Those were specifically, I think, sex discrimination and disability discrimination and assistance animals. We are open to any fair housing topic, and that's not written in stone by any means, and we're happy to work with you on getting speakers no matter what the topics are. But those were interesting topics that you had picked before. We weren't able to do them because we had to cancel. We can also decide who we want as our keynote. I mean, Justice Earls will still be on the Supreme Court if we want to hit her up again and ask her if she might be willing to do this. We can think of other speakers. If you have funds for an honorarium, you might want to think about a national speaker, though Justice Earls is certainly an energizing, excellent speaker. So the one thing that would be different, I think, is time. You're not going to have an all-day conference. You're not going to want, or people are not going to want to sit in front of the screen like they would sitting in a seat in an audience. And so in that sense, I would say that you should be considering something that would be no more than about 3 hours tops, and can have a break. People can eat their own lunch. And that would be my suggestion, but we are willing to, we defer to you guys on this.
Jack, what's your thoughts on a mix of live and pre-recorded content, and potentially making it more than just a single event? Maybe even recognize the whole month. On Fridays we release some pre-recorded content, things like that. A complete shifting of the format. Kind of radical ideas, what I'm looking at right now.
Sure, you can have a live event plus related pre-recorded things that come out and are publicized on every Friday or whatever you want to do. Again, that's one of the benefits of an online video presence. The Justice Center, we just had our large Defenders of Justice event. It was all online, and we had people that were accepting it. Some of them did it live, some of them pre-recorded. So you certainly can do that. You could even have pre-recorded short videos as part of your conference. If you were, if you wanted to be really energetic and about that, it would take obviously additional work. But if there was some short 5 or 10 minute video that you wanted to include in the presentation, people are already in front of the screen. And so you can mix it up in that regard, both at the conference itself and then in addition during that whole Fair Housing Month.
And that may kind of align with the earlier discussion about putting information, whether it's recorded or whatever, on our site. And Marquita and Deja, I'm assuming that we'll be able to record even the live pieces of our conference. So no matter what, whether it's pre-recorded or live, it will all be recorded and kept.
Absolutely.
Kept on our site.
This is Wanda Gilbert Coker, audio. Will the agenda for the staff, for the retreat be already made? Is that something that you are going to work on, or we're going to have another meeting about the agenda like in November before?
Right. So there are some items that will be on there. Like we have to go over some standard operating procedures. However, I was in an email just because we're running out of time on this one. And we can talk via email as a group on what items you want to add to the conference, not conference agenda, but to the retreat agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can offer input, absolutely.
And I'm going to assume we probably can actually pull the agenda from the last retreat and just kind of edit from there. Since we're
Absolutely.
considering using kind of some of the same.
And I was thinking it may be beneficial too, and I didn't, I was going to say it via email, but that if we maybe have some outside presenters, so maybe legal aid can come, how are you today, Jack? But possibly, to give like a brief, just overview or just update or something like that. And if there's other partner organizations who may be helpful with you all formulating what you're going to do for the upcoming year.
Happy to do it. Tell me again the date.
November the 21st from 1 to 4.
This is Wanda Gilbert Coker again, audio. I would like to have the Wake County, what are they calling it? The eviction diversion, someone from that department to come and give us some information and figure out how we can partner with them until we get our enforcement powers.
Absolutely. Lorena McDowell, Wake County Housing Director. She's been on my mind. So that's a great idea. I'm going to, if that's okay with everyone else, I'll connect with her to see if she's available. So maybe give a few minutes and talk.
The one thing, just shifting back to the conference for a second, the only thing that the Fair Housing Project needs from the board right now, and again, it doesn't have to be today, but as soon as possible, is a date. And I guess then you need to decide whenever you're going to decide whether you're going to, do the Hail Mary and try and do it in person, or whether you're going to, be comfortable and do it online, and then what that date's going to be. Because then no matter who we talk to try and get them to be a presenter, that's going to be the first question they ask.
I love Colin's idea about for the Fair Housing Month. I mean, it doesn't have to be every weekend, but even if we, chose 2 different dates for presenters, but just actually take advantage to host and have multiple events during the Fair Housing Month, since everything's going to be virtual. For example, Jack, if we want to reach out to somebody that we want to speak, if we choose some dates or just work around their schedule, I mean,
you decide, if you're going to be having a 3-hour conference in addition to these individual video presentations on on 1 or 2 Fridays, then you'll need to come up with a date for when that conference is going to be. If you are going to have it spread out with no conference and just every Friday in that month, then that's different. But if you guys decide that, and I hope that you do have a conference, we think that those are really, whether it's online or in person, I think that people enjoy them. I think they serve an important purpose in Wake County and in North Carolina. And so I would hope that you guys would do that again online. But if you're going to do that, I think you'll need to pick a date, even though you don't have to worry about the caterer and renting space.
okay.
Yeah, so I think online is definitely going to be what we're going to do, but we should just pick a date at some point, just an arbitrary date until we decide whether we want to do.
And now I'm pulling up my calendar now.
Yeah.
I just
Because I personally think it'll be easier if we do just collect pre-recorded content and just release that on a specific schedule. We don't have to get people sitting down in the same spot or anything like that. But that does take the live interaction portion out. So if we maybe want to turn the conference, like Jack said, a 3-hour event, maybe into a 3-hour Q&A for some panelists, we could do that, but we still need a date, as he stated.
Yeah. I just want to throw out, on October 5th, I attended the Virginia Council for Affordable Housing and Rural Housing annual conference. And it's the open remarks and like the sign in started at 8:30 to 8:45 and it ended at 5, but it was like panel discussions. It was roundtable discussions. It had like different options that you could choose as far as your interests. To sign up for different classes and different seminars. And then they had a session after lunch where they pull everyone together in the same room and had the keynote speaker. And then after that, they gave like information updates on affordable housing as well as fair housing. And then it ended. And I thought it was pretty dope actually to be able to choose what I was interested in as far as affordable housing and fair housing and the different updates and different changes as far as dealing with the COVID. So I definitely think we could pull it off online and it'll give us more flexibility too, to have different things to be discussed. And I think I enjoyed it more because it wasn't like I had to just be in one area all day. You can kind of go into different rooms and see what other speakers were discussing or get into conversations. And it was kind of interactive. They had the mics muted, but it was a time they unmuted the mics and it was interactive where you can ask questions. You can have open dialogue with the speakers pertaining to whatever the discussion was about. So I just wanted to just throw that out there.
You can have breakout rooms if you're, depending upon the format that you use. You'd obviously have to give that some thought. If you have smaller breakout groups of 10 or whatever, you can have however you want to, structure it. I don't know in terms of what the Fair Housing Project could do. I don't know that we can pull together an entire day's worth of presentations and speakers. And so though I like the idea very much of different areas and allowing for some sort of interactive process, I think that's a really excellent idea. I would still suggest that we keep it to half a day.
Okay. Maybe we can actually handle the conference the way that we were going to do it this year. Maybe we can have something in the daytime and have sessions in the evening. Might be something worth considering. Where people can come on and go into these breakout rooms for discussions, because that is popular. I've attended a few conferences and I was actually able to tell them where I wanted to go and they literally put you there. And then when the time was up to bring everybody back together, they literally brought everybody back together. So maybe we can still do a daytime, evening. It's something to consider. Maybe we can keep our format, but it just all be virtual.
And so if I may interject,
Yes.
so you all can most definitely discuss the format and layout during your retreat, what that will look like in more detail. But just, I know you were talking about selecting maybe a date, because what I'm hearing is a motion to select a date and if it's going to be virtual, and then you can vote on it and then you can discuss, more details when you have your retreat, come up with all that.
Well, we're more than sure it's going to be virtual.
Okay. Right, right.
Let me put it to you this way, I would not be there in person.
So yeah, I have a good time. So I know in the past, well, you tried to keep it on Fridays, but I think in the past couple of years it didn't work that way. But yeah, is there a certain
Is there?
in
Yeah,
April?
yeah, exactly. Are we going to try to shoot? Yeah, if we do want to have like a Q&A, do we want to shoot for a weekend where more people are available, or still do it during the day? Maybe get people, I'm sure they have some PTO, so individuals that are interested in attending this might be able to take off and attend the conference. Do we want to do both maybe and just do smaller sessions? I guess if we do need to gather people, and we do maybe pick something that's like smaller, like an hour for 2 days or 3 days, we still have to provide you that information. I imagine, Jackie, you guys still have to get that set up logistically.
If we did April 16th, it would be right after tax season. And maybe we can do a seminar in the morning and then do the breakout sessions Friday night. Will allow more people to participate. Just a thought.
But since it's not in person, do we think a Saturday because I agree with Jack. I think we should still have our regular conference. And then we can also continue to look at other little sessions to do throughout the Fair Housing Month. So do we want our conference, our actual conference, to be on a Saturday? I would think so.
I think that people came when it was a live event, people either took work time or they felt able to either take time off, or I'm not sure how, but I mean, people were at the conference when it was a live conference, even when it was on a working day. So I don't know necessarily that having it on a weekend will bring any more people or would allow for more participation. And just to let you know that we found that web events have actually been better attended. Remember the one that you had when I spoke? It wasn't me. It wasn't like they were saying, "Oh, Jack Holtzman speaking."
Yes, it was, Jack. No.
Well, okay. But maybe that was only part of it. So I think that you might have a bunch of people, because it is a lot easier to participate, who would be participating even if it's on a weekday. So just to throw that out there, I don't think that will be a difference.
All right, group. Y'all want to pick some tentative days? You want to do a Friday, a Thursday? April, you have a Thursday the 15th or Friday the 16th. And you have Thursday the 22nd or Friday the 23rd.
I like the idea of avoiding a Friday, maybe doing a Thursday, like slightly after work.
So I think Easter is like around the 4th. So either April the 9th, the 16th, April the 23rd, or the 30th.
Those are Fridays.
Those are Friday. Yep, 4 Fridays in April.
Okay. Well, the 16th is out. So the you say the 9th?
The 9th or the 23rd or the 30th. Is there a preference?
Well, I say either April 9th or the 23rd. I don't know. If we do it towards the end of the month, I think we would probably host some other little things leading up to it, to build up, that would allow for that.
Okay.
If we host the 23rd.
So is there a motion for the 23rd?
23rd? Okay, Okay, I second that motion on the 23rd.
No, yes, somebody has to make the motion.
I make the motion. Colin makes the motion for the 23rd.
Okay. All right, Analia seconded it. All right.
Sandra Collins.
What do you
yes.
say? You're supposed to say all in favor.
Sandra Collins in favor.
Wanda Gilbert Coker, aye. Audio.
Awesome.
On aye.
Shalisa Williams, aye.
Is that all of us?
Analia, aye.
Okay, perfect. So April the 23rd.
You got that, Mr. Jack?
Thank you very much.
And we'll come back with details. You discuss that during your conference. And I want to say we have like 2 minutes left and we have to log off this platform. So are there any last thoughts, concerns? April, yay, I'm excited. You have a conference date. And I'll send all these dates and stuff out to you all to have.
Right. And the board will communicate regarding some of our action items via email. Does everybody receive their emails? Wanda, do you get your emails?
Yeah, I got the one about the meeting today.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody does look at their email, make sure we got the right email addresses and stuff. Okay, all righty. There's no other discussion. What time is it? 2:16, meeting is adjourned. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.